All right, folks, we got game 18 coming up here with Morphy's Games of Chess. The American Chess Congress continues. All right, still the fourth round where we left it off, Paulson versus Morphy. This game was played on November 10th, 1857. All right, Paulson has the white pieces. And here we go. E4, Morphy E5. The knight comes out. Morphy defends. And Paulson playing the other knight. And Morphy follows. So we have what's called the four knights game. All right. And here you got Paulson on move 4 hitting with D4. Okay. Morphy moving the bishop out, pinning the knight on C3 now. Now here we got our first footnote of the game. It says pawn takes pawn, knight takes pawn, and then the bishop to b4, pinning the knight, as in Janowski Leipzig, 1894. Is preferred by some masters. Hey, who knows, right, folks? Like I said in the other ones, openings, you know, could go a million ways. Morphy chooses after the pawn push. He doesn't trade pawns yet. He just pins straight away, all right? Some masters prefer trading those pawns on d4. All right, whatever. Here we go. Now, here's Paulson's reply. He brings his king bishop out to b5. Okay, now here we got another note. Look at this one. Nimzovich introduced against Leonhardt Osted, 1907, what Fletcher calls the commendable innovation. All right, praises this move right here. Knight takes pawn. It is on account of this that some object to Black's fourth move, bishop to b4. Right? Like, is this supposed to stop it, huh? Now, I don't know. What if I just go like here? This is the move I see. Naturally, just see, develop your piece, develop the queen, right? You're putting pressure there. You're threatening knight takes knight, right? Something stupid like this. You're just threatening to take here, right? You win a pawn, right? Pressuring this guy on c3 with your queen and bishop now, right? I don't know. Can you do it? I mean, I think this is a good move. It doesn't say anything here in the notes. It just says that due to this move here of knight takes pawn, you know, it is on account of this that some object to bishop b4 for Black. I don't know. I still say this is playable. Now, even if you get the engine up here real quick, let's get her going, right? We've done it before in the games. Analyze game. Let's see. Let's see what this is. Chess Genius engine, very strong. All right, here we go. Look, I mean, you got the evaluation right here. Look, it's saying the knight takes, look, see this? 0.07. Basically, folks, anything under 1, it's pretty much drawish. It's a draw, right? Look at this, 0.07. I mean, come on. Nobody's winning at this point. I think Black's doing fine with this queen e7 move, right? I mean, you can let the engine run for about 10 minutes, see what it digs up, but we don't have time for that, right? So let's just see what he's saying. Take, look at this. You take here with check. Remember, the c3 knight's pinned, folks. Excuse me. The knight is pinned. I'm losing my myself here, my composure. Don't get lost. Don't get lost in the shuffle. Now look at what it's saying here. Queen to e2, right? All right, big deal. What do? We want to take maybe? Hey, we just take over here. Look, so why not, right? We take the knight back. Our queen is pinned. But why help him develop? You know, we take here, then he takes with the bishop. We're helping his development. Why do that, right? Let's take back our piece over here while we can. And then at this point, you know what's funny too? Just a basic principle. A lot of the lines with Morphy, you see him taking with the D pawn, so you could get this guy out quick, the queen bishop, right? But it looks like the queens are going to get traded off. So, I mean, you know, rapid development's not going to really matter. So maybe it's best, maybe the engine's, you know, calculating, it's best to just capture towards the center. You get more center control. It might be a little more valuable than the time you'd gain by leaping the bishop out in an attack, because the queens are going to be off the board, I think. You know, look at this. They're recommending that. Okay, so now the c3 knight's unpinned, right? You could trade queens. You could, okay, take this guy first. All right, he takes back with the piece. I mean, really, we don't even trade queens at this point. All right, there it is. The engine's, no, wait, the engine's saying here. You know, it's saying here, take the open file, you know. Ah, folks, it's a game, right? It's a game. All right, you gave up the bishop here. Big deal. It's a game. You could go, you know, could go a dozen ways. Look, they're saying here, all right, right now the engine decided in that other line to trade queens, but now it's reevaluating after Black's move. I don't know. So, look, bottom line, the whole of me yapping away, okay, the bottom line, the whole time, the evaluation here, if I borrow this pawn, see it? It's been under 1. It's been under 1. You're perfectly fine. Heck, it's been under half a pawn. It's been under 0.50. Forget about it. It's Black's doing fine. No trouble here. No trouble at all. Okay? So, at this stage, right, we go back. This all stems from, you know, the old masters left a note that this is a good move for white, but hey, I say Black hangs in there fine with queen to e7. You know, developing the queen. I mean, you got no problems here. No problemo. Look at that. 0.07. Come on. It's a draw at this point. It's there's a lot. You know, I gotta mention too, it doesn't mean right now it's a draw. What I'm saying is, because it could still, a lot of pieces on the board, a lot could happen. It's not like we're in an end game and it's drawish, you know. This is a lot of play still can, you know, a lot of mistakes can be made, you understand? A lot of positional mistakes, a lot of tactical errors, you know. So there's a lot of game to still be played, don't get me wrong. It's not like saying this is going to definitely end in a draw. I'm just saying Black isn't in any trouble. He's not in. White really threw away his opening advantage, I say. You know, Black's doing fine. He's equal at this point. I shouldn't say drawish. I should say equal. Maybe some of your masters out there, your teachers are yelling at me. That would be the correct way to put it. It's equal. That's what I should be saying. Not drawish. It's equal. All right. Anyway, you live and learn, right? Okay, so there you go. Look, now he's saying, yeah, we looked at this, right? The engine, right? There you go. There, your Black's doing fine. All right, so anyway, let's rewind it. That was just off of that footnote. Boy, you know, we'll be here forever, right? Okay, so let's get to the game. Let's, like I said, this is what Paulson plays, okay? Bishop to b5. Okay, bishop to b5. All right, so now you got, look at Morphy, taking the e-pawn, leaping right up there. Taking the e-pawn, now putting pressure on the knight on c3, for instance. A totally senseless move like this showed a threat, right? Knight takes, pawn takes, bishop with the check, winning the rook over here, winning the exchange, I should say, right? Because white takes back, and now you're up the exchange. Black's doing great, okay? So, there you go. Black would take here, I guess, right? All right, so anyway, there you go. I'm starting to play the game. I can't help it, you know. I get sucked right in. No, that's just the threat. Here you go. That's the threat. No h3, just playing h3 to show you the threat. All right? Showing you that threat. Okay, so what does Paulson do? How does he handle this? Okay, so what he does is he brings the queen right up to protect that knight there. See that? To add, you know, so there's no fork anymore, right? Look, it doesn't work. Just to show you kiddos, obviously, right? Queen takes back there. There's no fork. Get out of here, you. All right, so now what does Morphy do? All right, knight. The knight on e4, right? The black knight on e4 is now hanging. We gotta lend support. d5, baby, in the king pawn game. There you go. We said it before. If Black could get in the king pawn game, if Black could get in d5 safely, he equalizes. All right, so here he is. Look at this. He's doing fine. Protects that knight on e4. Now what? Now what happens? Okay, here comes Paulson. Two could play at this one. Look at this. The knight takes the pawn, right, on e5. So here we go. Look at this. We got it going on. They're going blow for blow here. Look, now it's Morphy's knight that's pinned, right? There's a threat. There's a threat. Same idea. Let's play a silly move for him. A silly H pawn move, right? Totally useless. And here you go to show the threat. Look at this. You take. Look at that. Now it's him. Now it's black losing the exchange, right? So there you go. You got that same threat. You know, this happens a lot. It's common patterns. You know, you're putting them together, folks. This is what would make up a chess game, right? So now at this point, Morphy he castles, right? He castles. Here he goes. All right, he castles, and lo and behold, folks, Paulson does the same, but that's a mistake. That is a mistake, folks. Why? The little footnote here. Bishop takes knight first is necessary to avoid loss of a pawn. Oh boy, a loss of a pawn, huh? Because they give this a question mark. Dubious move by Paulson. He drops a pawn. Can you see it, folks? Can you see it? All right, I'm going to show it to you. Get ready. Maybe you get a second. You look. Oh, wait a minute. Stop looking at the engine over there, you cheaters. Wait a minute, you. Let me turn off this this thing here. We get this going here. You cheaters. Look at you. I should have known. Right, there you go. All right. Obviously, you're probably looking at the notes up there, the engine, right? All right, so anyway, here we go. We got it anyway. If you didn't see it, here we go. Here's the move. Knight takes knight. All right, Black's taking a piece. White's got to keep up, right? He's got to take back. Pawn takes knight. Okay, now we strike here. We take this knight. All right, the queen can't take, obviously, right? Because then you lose him. So, lose her. So, you got to take back with the pawn, right? All right, now we hit this guy. All right, Paulson brings the bishop back to a4. Looks good, right? Well, here you go. Look at this little move here. Queen a5, attacking that bishop. It's undefended, right? All right. And now he's also forking when this guy goes to b3, goes to safety. There you go. The c3 pawn. Did you see all that, folks? Did you see it? All right. Don't worry if you didn't. That's why we're playing these games. You slowly build up these ideas. You put them together. All right. So here we go. So Morphy now up a pawn, all right? Can he put it to use? Can he get the win out of this, right? Let's see what he does. Okay. Now he's also threatening, if you haven't noticed. He's threatening the pawn over here. Queen takes the pawn, right? It's hanging on e5. So Paulson develops his last piece there, his last minor piece. He brings it to f4, protecting the pawn on e5. Very good. Okay, so here we go. So now we got the bishop. Morphy develops his queen bishop to f5, right? Look at this guy, right? Ready to leap who knows where, right? Maybe uncovering that bishop somehow, getting those tactics going. All right, so here we are now. Here it is, very crucial moment. And what does Paulson do? He's down a pawn already. Look at this one. Look at this one. Right here. He plays the queen rook to c1, all right? And he's hoping for this, folks. The notes itself, I'll read it. It says, inviting black to exchange queens. Look, if he takes here, if Morphy was falling asleep and he just takes the queens off, he figures he's up a pawn. Let me get closer to the end game. Big mistake. Paulson moved the rook to c1 for a reason. Look, it takes the knight's escape squares out of play. Look, he can't go anywhere now. The knight can't jump here. The knight can't jump there. Here, he can't jump anywhere. Look, the pawn, right? The pawn on e5. You'd lose the knight. Okay? So there you go. This is, this was Paulson's attempt, hoping that Morphy steps into it, right? But it says here, inviting black to exchange queens. But naturally, Morphy does nothing of the kind. Whereupon Paulson, whose best chance was to exchange queens on his 14th move, does so on his 15th and loses rook for knight. Look at this, folks. This is what they're just saying. Get grip. Just exchange queens now, okay? Just do it now, and you hang in there. You're down a pawn. You got the bishop pair. Hey, you know, maybe you could hang in there with the draw, you know? That's what should have been played. But okay, he's playing for a trap, right? He's hoping that Morphy trades queens, and then he'll lose his knight. But lo and behold, come on. Come on, we got the best player of the day playing the black pieces. And Morphy launches the G-pawn. Did you see that one? Look at the tactics now, folks. Okay? Okay, he's going to win the exchange. Can you see that? Can you see Morphy's going to win the exchange? How's he going to do that? All right, let's look at it. Exclamation point for this move, right? Because it's, you might say, oh, he's moving that pawn in front of his castled king. Isn't that dangerous? Folks, he's going to come out of this up an exchange, okay? So here he goes. It's going to look good. The queens are going to come off. Here we go. The queens are going to come off because if you notice now, where does this bishop go, right? Where does this bishop go? First of all, let's look at it. If he takes the pawn, figuring, well, you can't take because then you lose your queen, right? Because the knight's guarding the queen. All right, but simply put, you take the pawn like this, right? All right, first we trade queens. All right, there goes that pawn. But now we capture the bishop, right? We get that bishop for a pawn. And the knight escapes, and the knight's looking pretty, right? Sitting pretty later. Maybe come back to, who knows, right? Well, it's a game from here. It's easy streak for black up a piece. Or is he even up a pawn, or is he not? I don't even know. Let's see. We count him up. 6 to 6. All right, so he's up a piece. He's got an extra knight. Easy win, okay? Easy win. All right, so now, let's see. If, well, what if he moves here, right? What if he moves there? What's the move then, huh? What do you do? I don't even know. Now you could take, let's see. You could take, let's see, that way. Let's put the engine back up. I'm forgetting it now. Let's see what happens here. He goes, all right, the queen. All right, you take the queen. Oh, okay, yeah, you win a pawn this way. Watch this. I couldn't see it, folks. Hey, I'm brushing up myself. All right, there you go. Now you take this guy, right? And he takes back. Now you win this one. See that? So you win another pawn. So now you're up 2 pawns. All right, should be an easy win for black. Up 2 pawns. Okay. And you're very close to the end game. You start trading off those pieces. You're up 2 pawns. Forget about it. All right, so now, I mean, nowhere else. What if you go here, right? If you go here, that's an easy one. Destroy the queen as a defender, right? He takes, you go here, you take right there, right? And now you take, let's see, what do you do? Can that, yeah, you're going to win that, D3 pawn too, right? I mean, if you try to attack this guy, because the knight's trapped right now, well, you just get the bishop trade for it, right? So you don't lose anything, you're up a bishop, okay? So if he tries to move, I mean, can he even move it? Can he even move it? And then, okay, he's protecting that. Oh, you get the rook. You get the raw. I'm blind. I'm totally blind. I don't know. It's early again, folks. I'm trying my best. I didn't even look this deep. That would be totally... I'll tell you, I'm falling asleep. I'm falling asleep. All right. So basically, you know, after this, black's busted. White's busted. I can't get it right. All right. So anyway, where are we? All right. So now, what else? What's the point here? What's the other point? I mean, you go here, right? You go there. What's left? Oh, yeah, you win the pawn. There you go. You win the pawn. Remember, the bishop's protecting the pawn. So there you go. You win the pawn. No big deal. And black's doing great. He's up 2 pawns now after this. All right. So now to go to the game. How does he lose? How does he lose the exchange? Okay. So here's what Paulson does, right? Because he doesn't really have many options. He takes the queen first. All right, you got to take back, right? You don't want to be down a queen. So here you go. You take back. All right, now the bishop is hanging, right? Where does he go? Where does he go now? Do you see it, folks? All right, Paulson decides to grab the pawn at least. But now you had this sitting there. See that? The knight fork. That's how you win the exchange. Because if you go back a move, what could white do? He's got to save his piece, right? He's got to save his piece. If you try to stop the fork from occurring, well, now you just win a piece outright. Okay? So there you go. You can't do it that way. And there's no way that this dark square bishop can move back to defend the light square E2 and prevent the fork, right? All right, so he at least gets material. He figures, I'll take a pawn. He's down a pawn, so he gets it back, and now he's going to just be down the exchange. Can he hang in there? Maybe, folks. Who knows, right? Here we go. All right, knight takes rook. Here you go. Rook takes knight. And now Morphy bringing the king rook over, attacking the E5 pawn. All right, Paulson cements the dark square bishop. Strong bishop there, pretty good. All right, he's got the bishop here still. He could fight. He could try to fight. So he's got the bishop, dark square bishop cemented on F6, protecting that E5 pawn. All right, not bad, right? So now here you go. Look at this, Morphy expanding on the queen side. I mean, he has the pawn majority over there on the queen side, right? He's going to try to create a passed pawn. That's what you want to do when you have a pawn majority, especially on the queen side, where if you can get a passed pawn over on the queen side, the kings are over on the king side far away. Exchange those pieces. As each piece comes off, that passed pawn becomes more and more valuable. Okay, so here we go. He's expanding. He knows the deal. Here comes Paulson, right? Look at his pawn over here. Maybe he's thinking of playing G4, hitting that bishop. I don't really know. Okay, here we go. Look at this. A5 now. Ready to trap that bishop on B3. For instance, a silly move like this, you lost the piece. You lost the piece. You're down the exchange. Well, now you lost the piece, right? So here we go. All right, Paulson sees it. A mile away, here he goes. Puts the pawn up to create an escape square, right? All right, but here comes Morphy, right? Let's see. He plays. Let's see. There goes the pawn. Where am I? That was move 21, right? There you go. A3. Okay, bishop. Here you go. Pulls the bishop back to protect D5 because he wants to push. He wants to push the C pawn up, right? Oh, look at this. Now, all of a sudden, you got the rook. He sees what he wants to do. If he pushes this, right, he's got 2 on this one. I guess that's what he's thinking, right? But look at Morphy. He plays this guy up. All right, he plays that one up, and Paulson trades. All right. Now it's you got 3 pawns here. Then white only has the C pawn. All right, so here we go. Pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn. We got move 24. Here it is. Look. H3, right? I don't really even know what that's about. Here comes Morphy. Look at this. He pushes C5. Now this is beautiful. It says right here, a trap. Let me get the engine off. I don't want to scare you now. Right? Let's try to do this on our own. Here we go. All right, let me go back. All right, there you go. Get that engine out of there. All right, here we go. C5. Now, like I said, he's got 2 on D5. Can he take here, right? Can he take? This is a trap, folks. Bishop takes pawn, loses. Here it is. The queen rook comes over. Look at that, huh? Pinning the bishop. The bishop can't go back or he loses the rook, right? He can't run back. You lose the rook. But I know what you're saying. All right. I know what you're saying. You got this guy, right? Holy smokes, you get the exchange back. All right, but you use this one now to pin it, right? And look at this. It almost doesn't work because you got the pawn push protecting the bishop cemented in there, right? Wrong, because you got pawn takes pawn en passant. You know that one, right, folks? We've gone over it, I believe, in one of the other games, but just to touch on it again, this guy, when you got a pawn making a double move, you see, if that rule didn't exist, he'd have to move here first, right? Allowing black to exchange. But he's a coward. He's running. He's got that 2 square option on the first move, right? Perfectly legal. But black has the option to take him out as if he moved only 1 square. That's pawn That's pawn takes pawn and passant. In passing. All right. So there we go. Now, all right, now the bishop could run back to protect the rook. But then you trade rooks. Look at this. Did you see it this far, folks? If you did, God bless you. Look at this move now. The little quiet move. You'd love to push the pawn up, but, you know, he takes him out. Right? You lend support to that pawn, baby. There's nothing that white could do now. Who cares? Even if he hits him over here, right? Tries to put pressure. Either one or two things. You could pull him back. And now what? But you don't even have to, folks. You just go right in. Look, you go right in. You don't have to waste time. Right? If he moves this guy, you get your queen. Right? With check. If he takes him, big deal. Now you take that one, right? And there you go. You won a piece. You're up easy street, folks. You got a bishop for a pawn. No contest. No contest. No way white could do anything. Game over. That was some combination, though, right? You know, I don't expect all you guys to see that one that far. That was forcing this little move. And it's all over. Can you believe it? If you fall for the trap, you see? All right, now Paulson's got a keen eye, right? Okay, so he didn't go for it. He decides to play this guy now. He plays this one up one. Okay, so Morphy takes. And pretty much, you know, it could transpose and all, but he brings the bishop back, right? So here comes Morphy. Look at this. Rook down, the open file, attacking that piece. Rooks to the 7th, baby. All right, attacking that bishop. Now, we can't move the bishop, else then the pawn moves up, right? So they're trying to blockade this passed pawn. All pawns, I should say, because even this guy's going to march up and help him if need be, right? But, okay, Paulson's holding this position. He keeps the bishop on c2, blockading the pawn, and he backs it up with his rook. Okay, but now, Morphy, textbook procedure, doubling those rooks. All right, here we go. Now what? Now what do we got? All right, look at this. Paulson brings the dark square bishop to g5, protecting his rook. Because here it comes. Here comes the rook down, right? I mean, I guess he's figuring if they trade, you know, just make a senseless move. You trade, you could protect it with the, you don't have to move it, right? But then you come down with this guy. Forget it. So Paulson sees it. It's pretty much, it's curtains either way. Here you go. No H-pawn move there. Here you go. Morphy coming down with the rook, right? Threatening, like I said, rook takes rook, bishop takes rook, and then the other rook comes down. All right, so he tries this. He tries to block the rook out with his bishop, but he's really just running out of options. He's busted, folks. He's busted. Pawn up. And that's it, folks. And Paul Morphy wins the game. He wins the match. He wins the American Chess Congress. Huh? He does it in fine fashion, huh? Look at this. Because now if he... All right, let's go. Let's take the engine. Let's put him on. Let's see what he could come up with. I mean, no matter what, it's busted, right? Don't take my word for it. Let's see the Silicon Monster come alive. Let's see what he can do. All right, look, minus 6.28 pawns. Forget about it. It's over. All right, he comes up with this one. You take the piece. With check, he comes up. Come on, do we have to go any further? Look at this. He's marching the pawn even closer. All right, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? It's all over, folks, all over. Pass pawns. You're up a whole rook. All right, forget about it. Forget about it. It's over. Game over. Right, what else could he do? I don't know. What he does this one. He takes like this. You take this guy. He takes this guy. Then you come up. All right, so you gave up the C pawn, right, the C3 pawn. You got another one on C5. Big deal. You're going to win. Well, look, he's pinned. You're going to win this guy. Again, you're up a rook. You're up a rook with the two pawns. Forget about it. The two passed pawns coming down on the D and C files. Forget about it. It's all over. It's all over. All right, baby. So now that concludes. It concludes the American Chess Congress. We got a champion of the United States, folks, Paul Morphy. Now, let me go into the biography a little bit and just read the end notes to this American Chess Congress to make it, you know, thorough, a little complete, right? Complete this thing here, whatever it is that we're doing, right? Here we go. Now, if I can only find it as I flip through the pages, okay? Here we go. let's see. Let's just go right to when he plays the. I'll read the whole thing on the American Chess Congress. It's like one page. Don't get nervous. All right. Don't get nervous. If I could only find it, you know. Okay. Let's see. It's a lot to this. A good book. Good book. You got to find. I tell you, you can find it on the Digital Library of America. If anyone wants to, maybe I'll put a link in there. You can find it for free, folks. You know, no money. It's an old book, as I stated before, long ago. These games took place in 1857, right? But anyway, it says here, let's see. Okay, the opportunity for introduction into a wider circle of players than he had met hitherto came to Morphy in 1857. After his admission to the bar gave him more leisure, and also, no doubt, because his father's restraining influence had been removed. In the April of 1857, the New York Chess Club, of which the most prominent supporters were Colonel Charles Meade and the former Englishman James Thompson, sent a circular around the clubs of the United States proposing a tournament for players resident in America. The idea is said to have come from Daniel Willard Fisk, soon to be co-editor with Morphy of the American Chess Monthly. It was taken up readily in the United States, and a representative entry was secured for the first American Chess Congress, including players of such reputation already as Thompson, Stanley, and Lichtenstein of New York, Raphael of Kentucky, etc., and two young men whose names were unknown to chess players in the Old World, Louis Paulson and Paul Morphy. Paulson, resident for the past few years in Iowa, had begun to gain celebrity in the western states by his blindfold chess. As for Morphy, his fame in New Orleans was sufficient to gain him a place in the tournament. Edge states that when the telegram announcing that Morphy was actually starting from New Orleans reached New York, Paulson declared that the first prize would fall to him, to judge by games of which he had already been published in America. New Yorkers probably were skeptical, some of their champions having at least had the advantage of playing in Europe against masters of recognized standing. But the result of the tournament was that, in Lowenthal's words, the graybeards were fairly pushed from their pedestals. Youth and genius proved far more than a match for age and experience. All went down, almost without a struggle, before the conqueror from New Orleans, and second in the contest stood Paulson, who was only a few years older than Paul Morphy. Each of these two played 18 games, Morphy winning 14, losing 1, and drawing 3, and Paulson winning 10, losing 5, and drawing 3. The Congress was held in New York, and here on November 11th took place the prize giving, when Morphy received from the hands of Colonel Meade, president of the American Chess Association, a solid silver service consisting of a salver, a pitcher, and 4 goblets. The salver was engraved with a picture of Morphy in the act of winning the decisive game against Paulson, the one we just went over, baby, and had an inscription declaring him victor in the tournament, while all the pieces bore the monogram PM. Paulson received a gold medal as the second prize winner. All right, so there you go. Right, a little history, baby. We just looked at the history in the making. We saw Paul Morphy, maybe you heard of him in your chess circles, okay? And now you got to see some of his games. But I'll tell you what, folks, the fireworks has just begun. You got to see him, folks. He's gonna get support. They want to send him over to play all the best players in Europe, in Paris, in London, right? In Germany. You gotta stay tuned, folks. This is gonna only get better. You got to see him go up against the Titans, right? Because, all right, Chess it's a new thing in the United States. All right, so you got Europe is the place to be when it came in the 1800s. So we're gonna send the champ. How will Morphy fare against those champions over there, right? Well, you got to stay tuned, folks. There's more battles. There's more wars to be waged. There's more carnage and destruction, combinations and tactics, endgame brilliancies. You got to stay tuned, folks. It's only going to get better. We're just touching the tip of the iceberg. Please, folks, join me on this journey, this adventure, this walk through time, this chess adventure. Join me with Morphy's Games of Chess as it continues. Please, please, you got to stay tuned.